Welcome to the Wilson Wealth Show, a thought provoking show about building wealth in the new economy. Each week, members of the Wilson Wealth team and their guests will discuss how to navigate the world of personal finance, stocks, real estate, and entrepreneurship to help you build wealth in the new economy. And now, here is your host, Sierra McCosh.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wilson Wealth Show. My name is Sierra McCosh, and thank you all for joining us today. I have Maurice and Blobby with me. How you guys doing?
Doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. And you, Maurice?
I am doing awesome. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. Always good to hear. So before we get started, let's take a moment to reflect on this month's theme, the value of starting early. When we began this series, we discussed why people don't start focusing on financial goals earlier in life, and we concluded that the number one reason is lack of milestones to achieve by a certain age. But what happens when someone does achieve their certain financial milestones by key ages and yet finds themselves unfulfilled by the job, the house, the family trips, and all the other things that comes with success? What happens when someone is trapped by success? So, Ablavi, I know you have a lot to say on this one, so I'm going to go ahead and let you take the reins.
I think when you're trapped by success, you have one of two options. You can remain trapped, or you can figure out a strategy to attain the fulfillment you desire. Spike Lee said in a 2008 interview, the majority of people on this earth go to their grave having been slaves to the job they hate. Let me say that again so it can sink in. The majority of people on this earth go to their grave having been slaves to the job they hate. So if you're one of those people, you'll stay trapped forever. But if you're not, there's hope for the future. And the reason this topic came about was because I was sharing with my financial advisor, who happens to be Maurice Wilson of Wilson Wealth Management, by the way. So I was talking to Maurice, and let me just say, obviously it's going to be Maurice. Hello, I'm a part of Wilson Wealth Management, clearly. So that being said, I reached an income goal for this year that I had set back in 2020. And I was telling him, I don't feel like a complete failure. Now, for me, failure is defined by not making the money from this particular business venture I've dreamed of pursuing since I was 15. I'm intentionally not saying what it is because I want to keep it under wraps until I actually start being successful in that area. But as far as that particular venture is concerned, I have had some success. It just didn't include a substantial monetary gain. And I think I'm like a lot of people in that regard who have a dream and something they've always wanted to do, but they have not been able to monetize it, which goes back to strategy and determining what yours should be in order to be able to monetize whatever your dream is. And I'm not sure if it's just me. So Sierra and Maurice, you guys tell me what you think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
When it comes to being fulfilled without making money, is that really fulfilling?
See, that's hard. I feel like it's different for every person. Like, I feel like it just depends on who you are as a person and what you think is important. I think what's most important is that you are putting something out into the world that makes you feel like you've done something important with your life. Something that you're proud of. And for some people, it's that you've done something that has good monetary value. It was very smart and it's helpful for your family, your kids, your future self. And that is fantastic. But for other people, it's more internal. It's just doing something that makes them happy. I feel like I'm like a combination of both. I have quite a lot of hobbies that I would love to be able to make money from, but I'm also okay if I don't. What do you think about it, Maurice?
It can definitely be challenging, doing something and not bringing home that paycheck. And it reminds me of when I was still working as an engineer, and before I really committed to being a financial advisor, I was designing an after-school program as my escape from corporate America. And I was just looking at the numbers, running my Excel spreadsheets, and the revenue from the program I was designing just could not compete with my engineering salary. And as a result, I stopped in my tracks and pursued other interests. So for me, it's definitely a material, definitely something to an impediment to me. If you can't make money doing what you love, then you may have to turn that down for Maurice Wilson. But guys are motivated, more by money, earlier in their life. That's what kind of leads to the midlife crisis. And so for me, definitely I need to make the money doing what I do.
I mean, I can understand that for sure. Sorry, Blobby, go on.
No, you're good. I would have to second that. You know how people say just do what you love, and I'm just like, yeah, that's cool, but if you're not making any money as an adult doing what you love, you got to figure out a way to pay the bills until what you love starts paying you.
Ooh, that's a good quote. I love that.
That's the Blobby original.
I like that.
All right. So with that being said, tell me, what do you guys think causes so many people to get trapped in the first place?
It all goes back to having a lack of options, in my opinion. Money is so often vilified in our society for a host of reasons, some of which I suspect are just to keep people in their place. And we forget that money gives you options.
You know what, Maurice? Can I just say something really quick? Because you just really struck a chord.
Oh, okay.
When you talk about how money has been vilified, I agree 100%. Often you hear people saying, "Oh, money really doesn't matter. Oh, so what? No big deal." And at the same time, if they have clothes on, that clothes costs money. Mm-hmm. Even if they got it from someone, like whoever gave them the clothes, the original or the originator of the clothes spent some money on it, even if they got it for free. Okay. So I just think it's remarkable the way people trivialize money, yet everything costs money.
Exactly. Can I just interject as well?
No, I'm just playing.
I was actually going to say this at some point, but this is perfect. So, that whole money can't buy happiness. I think everybody has heard that, right?
Unfortunately.
And I will say, I love the other part of that quote where it's like, money can't buy happiness above 200 grand a year. After you're making 200 grand a year, whether it's combined income or not, you have everything you need to be able to pursue what you want to do. So yes, to a certain degree, money does buy happiness, and I feel like, yes, definitely money has been vilified. And I always get a little bit irked when people try to say money can't buy happiness, because I'm like, well, tell that to a poor person whose all their problems could be solved with money. Exactly. You know what I mean? So yes, money has definitely been vilified. Please continue, Maurice.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been vilified, and I think not after listening to you guys, I think the vilification of money is used as a coping mechanism for people to make excuses for not living up to their potential. But even beyond that, this is why, going back to our first podcast about having financial milestones, this is why it's so important that you have milestones to reach financially through life. And if we focused on those milestones of accumulating wealth in the same manner that we pursue the higher education, the home ownership, and marriage, then when we finally reach this trap that we're talking about, we'd have the money, ergo the options, to get out of that trap. But because we focus on K through 12, good college, good job, marriage, home, when we look up, we're like, oh, I'm trapped, but I can't get out because I've spent my life pursuing things that, that matter, but don't complete the picture for helping us to negotiate how we get to being fulfilled.
Absolutely. And I think the vast majority of parents who are well-intentioned and encourage their children to play it safe, and subsequently that 18-year-old that you encourage to go to college and pick a career in STEM, in a STEM-related field, for instance, they listen to their parents while secretly wanting to be a fashion designer, for instance. And they end up climbing the corporate ladder. And the next thing you know, they're 45 and a VP with a wife, 2 kids, maybe 3, and a dog. And on the outside looking in, they look successful. They have the car, the house, their kids are in private school, but inside they feel trapped. And instead of figuring out a way to not be trapped, they end up telling their children to do the same thing because it worked for them. Or after years of telling yourself that you're living the good life, you start to believe it. and you accept that you never tried to be that fashion designer, and you just continue the cycle with your kids.
Oh my gosh. This really strikes a chord with me. I feel like parents, yeah, they have good intentions. They want their kid to survive and to do well. Like more than survive, they want their kids to succeed and do well. And that's why so many people are trying to get into STEM. And I did it too. And my mom wanted the best for me. She said, she's a geneticist. She's pretty high up in her company. She makes good money, and she enjoys it. Me personally, not really my thing. I don't have what it takes to be in STEM, and that's okay. But I felt pressure, not from my mom, on myself to be like, no, I got to be able to take care of my family. I got to be the one to do all this stuff. No, nobody else is doing it. I got to do it. So I spent years in college wasting my time, basically, because I was doing something that just wasn't right for me. And if I had just taken some time to really think about it and find something that I could make money in, that I would both enjoy and also had the ability to do, I wouldn't be where I am right now, which is 25 and still in school.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have good intentions, but at the end of the day, you cannot force yourself to be a different person. You are
Definitely.
who you are.
That's powerful.
Soundbite.
Yeah,
It's true. It's true. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you're 100% right. And Maurice, since you're the person who has had kids the longest on the phone, on the call, forgive me, I would have to ask you, do you think that in your clientele and what you see out there, do you think the vast majority of parents today in 2021 are still doing this, or has the light bulb gone off? Like, yes, you need to encourage your kids to make a decent living, but at the same time, don't shun their dreams. What's your experience with that?
Well, if you go to, Sierra can tell me this, you're in school. Do you see entrepreneurship on the curriculum, or the student handbook? Is that an option?
Oh, you got jokes, Maurice.
Can you major in and so I say that because when I talk to parents, they're talking 529 plans. They're talking very deliberate funding for college. And so, you can't go to college to find yourself. Because you're picking a major, right? Like, unless your parents are okay with you going undeclared, then these people have to pick a major. As Sierra knows, once you pick a major, you're already making decisions that you have to undo. And that's where if you got to undo the major, you got to go back and tell the parents, hey, I'm not going to be this now. I'm going to be this. I know what I'm doing. Okay. Let's say you pick the wrong thing next, and you got to undo that. Very few people at 18, 19, 20 can do that with their parents footing the bill. So what I see is parents funding college. I see parents making sacrifices for college. And so they aren't even thinking about, anything other than going and continuing the cycle of a good job, a good career, a nice house, a nice marriage. And, 20 years later, okay, I don't really want any of this, but, the parents are satisfied. So no. No, the trap is being laid as we speak.
Got it. Okay, so we are just renegades, you and myself, and maybe Sierra will be a renegade too when she has some kids.
It's already begun. I cannot tell you how many things. We got some pre-recorded stuff, guys, and that'll change your mind about a lot of stuff.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sierra.
Oh no, you go off.
No, I was just going to say, I would also like to add that the vast majority of people just don't have the mental fortitude not to be trapped in success. And that doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that they stay trapped and they have to come to the pressure from society, be it parents, friends, whomever, to do what they are supposed to do, which is work a job until they can't work it anymore, and then figure out a way to deal with their lack of fulfillment. And this works for a lot of people, and they have good lives. They just never have great lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And the problem is you're just trying to survive. The economy is not great right now, as we all know. And everybody, especially, I would say, my point of view being somebody who's a younger millennial, who's just trying to make it as well. Anyone my age, we're all just trying to find something that's going to make us decent money. We haven't even really started thinking about what we want to be. You know what I mean? We haven't reached this point where we're feeling trapped by success yet. We're trapped by trying to be successful. But at the same time, with the path that everyone that I know is taking now, even if we do make it and we make it big and we're doing well, we are going to feel this way because we have all kind of thrown our dreams out the window and we're just trying to make it, just trying to survive. Just, I want to have a family in the future. I got to get this, and this done by this time, 5-year, 10-year plan. I got to do all this stuff,
So let me ask you this, Sierra. So if you could go back to childhood again, knowing what you know, whether it's you or your friends or what have you, and this is not to say anything disparaging about your mom. I'm sure you have a great mom from what you've told us, right? Mm-hmm. But if you could go back and have a do-over, what do you think would put you or anybody else in your generation in a situation to like be in a place where it's like, okay, I've identified this is the thing I'm good at, or these are the things that I'm good at. Mm-hmm. And this is the strategy that I'm going to use to accomplish that. What if it was being that fashion designer, what have you? What needed to happen so at 45 you're not like, or maybe not even 45, or just like you're not in a situation to where the way it is right now. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, it makes complete sense. And there are a few things that I would have done differently. I would have forced myself to do more things in high school. Not necessarily study harder, but just take that time where I didn't really have to have a job, didn't really have any, no bills to pay, nothing like that. Take that time to figure out what I like and not just go to school, come back home and not really do anything. I would have joined more clubs. I would have figured out some stuff. Just taking that opportunity of that time where you just have all of this freedom to figure out who I am and what I want to be. And once I graduated high school, I would have waited to go to college. That is the biggest thing that I wish I would have done. I wish that I would have taken a couple of years and worked a few different jobs, not really worrying about what it is, just gotten some experience, and then figured out what I wanted to do, and then went to college with like the mindset of like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do, And I think that would have helped me out a lot because I was one of those people that changed my major a lot. I was psychology, then I wanted to be a dentist, then I wanted to be a PA. I didn't know about a dentist. Oh yeah, no, okay, that's a whole nother thing. I wanted to be a dentist when I was a kid because of the movie Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was obsessed with the dentist elf. That's where I got it from. Wow. 10 years. 10 years I wanted to be a dentist because of that. 10 years. But yeah, there were all kinds of things that I just ran through because I realized I wasn't passionate about the thing, and I was like, oh crap, I can't do this for the rest of my life, and I would panic. And I feel like a lot of people that I knew in college would do the same thing. They would panic when they realized that it wasn't what they wanted to do, but they've already put all this time into it, and they're like, all right, I'm going to push. And then I did biology and realized that I cannot do chemistry at all. Not even a little bit. I cannot tell you how many chem classes I took and failed brutally.
I sucked at chem. I'm right there with you.
Oh my God. It's because
I couldn't balance some equations for nothing.
I couldn't do it.
Me too. Absolutely.
I couldn't do it. It would just be crying.
Oh just my gosh.
Trying to figure out stuff. It was absolute murder. But at that point I was like, no, I'm too old for this. I got to do it. And I wasted my time fitting myself into a corner that I didn't belong in.
Right.
Wow. That's drop them right.
Sure, you own it today. When you're talking about that, I flash back to when I was had a full scholarship to Clemson University for electrical engineering, And I remember just sitting in my living room and looking at the curriculum, and I just knew, like, I don't want to do any of this stuff. Like, you know,
Yeah,
I
you just know.
I just wanted to go to college and go, you know, enjoy the campus, you know, but I had a full scholarship, and I'm like, what does an 18-year-old do? Everybody is, you know, they get you the balloons, future, you know, Clemson Tiger, all that stuff, and
you don't want to disappoint.
Don't want to disappoint.
Mm-hmm.
And this before the internet. Well, before the internet we got now. So I mean, expression wasn't a big thing in the 90s. You know, you just kind of got with the program, perfect SAT scores, and go to college. And so,
yep.
Wow. But I mean, and that's powerful. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. I did not know.
That is really amazing, and it's helpful too as a parent of a almost 8-month-old.
Yeah.
You know, with these ideas that are against the grain, to hear somebody who, you know, is a millennial just talk about, you know, their experience.
Yeah. And, you know, in some ways the parents get trapped by the goals that they claim, you know, they want their kids to achieve to other parents. And you get into the social pressure where your kid dropped out of this particular you know, academic enrichment something, you know, they're not playing that instrument anymore. They're not taking golf lessons and whatnot. And and you're, or heaven forbid, you know, they don't want to go to that private school anymore. And the parents are taking it as a, you know, a socioeconomic hit. Oh, they must not be able to afford private school. And so, I mean, this thing gets kicked off early. Early.
Agreed, 100%. You know, and when you say it gets started early, even like with the milestones, having like not even a 1-year-old yet. Oh, is your son crawling yet? Is he doing?
Oh my God! Don't even get me started.
I used to hate going to the pediatrician office and sitting with the other parents. That's all they would do.
Yeah.
Yes, they would do that. Oh my gosh. When I worked at a yoga studio for some time doing basically like a daycare, and I cannot tell you how much pressure parents would put on their kids to reach those certain milestones. My kid's in this private school and they're reading at this level, they're doing this, like even like little babies, like, oh, they've already said their first word, oh, they're gonna, it's just let your kids be kids, you know. We could probably get into this in like another podcast, but the way that especially the American system, like even the school system itself, treats children, everybody is doing things too early, and it's messing with their development. Kids should not be reading in kindergarten. They just shouldn't. They're not ready for it. And it's messing with their developmental skills. It really is. And people don't realize this. Like, just leave your kids alone. They're going to do it. My mom did this with me. Like, everybody was all worried because I was one of those kids that needed a blanket a little bit longer, you know, sucked on my thumb a little bit too long. And they're like, oh my God, she's going to have dental issues. She's going to have, oh my God, I have never had braces. I have the straightest teeth. It was never, and my mom was just like, leave her alone. She'll be fine. She will figure it out. And I did, and my teeth are straight. Nothing happened. I promise nothing is going to happen if your kid is doing something just a little bit longer than the other kids, you know?
Yeah, that peer pressure thing is very, very
parental
real.
Peer pressure.
Absolutely.
Parental pressure, whatever you want to call it. It's bad. And it affects your kids as adults. Don't do it.
It is, definitely.
But let's move into the goal, the what here. Maurice, give us the goal.
All right. The goal is pretty simple. The goal is to make a living doing what you love.
Love that. That's it. It's simple. It's to the point.
Yes.
But, however, I suspect that escaping the trap to get to the goal of doing what you love, there's a lot more involved there. So please tell me how you've helped people escape the trap, Maurice.
All right. Well, as the aforementioned old man on the podcast, I have,
oh boy,
double-digit years experience dealing with, each client brings a microcosm of the, what you read in the headlines, whether it's extended families, paying for college, paying student loans, and And of course, reaching a point in your career where you realize you don't want to be in that career anymore. And so I've had a lot of practice helping clients escape the trap of success. And what I always do is, what's at stake? What are we risking if we diverge from the path? And the answer is retirement. That's really all that's at stake. Your house, your car, your clothes, all of that can be swapped out. But retirement is a definite endpoint that everybody, if they're lucky enough, will reach. If you don't, maybe something happened and you're not on this earth anymore. So we're going to retire at some point, no matter how optimistic we are with our workout plans and whatnot. So what I would do is give the client a 5-year window. So let's say you were on track to retire at 60 and you told me at 30, 35, 40, you wanted to leave your career in engineering or in corporate America. I would say, okay, let's push your retirement out to 5 years, and let's find ways to reduce your expenses, find ways to replace your income so that you can take a real shot at this new goal that you're going, starting a business, maybe taking less income for a different type of career. Because when you step out of that career, you don't want to play at it. This isn't a social media post. This isn't a I'm hearing about Clubhouse now. It's like a fake TED Talk or something like that. This isn't a TED Talk, if you will. You aren't doing this for your friends. You're doing this for you. So we want to be serious. And so I make it that serious. I expect you to try it for 5 years. And if we don't make it, we know we got to retire 5 years later and we ramp back up in that old career. And it's as simple as that. It's just resetting yourself for when you're going to retire and then making the sacrifices. You may have to downsize your house. You may have to move from that city you love. You may have to take a small part-time job, but you have to do the tough stuff to make this happen. And that's the mental fortitude that Blobby was talking about. And so that's what it takes. The escape is actually quite simple, just like the goal of making a living doing what you love.
I really like that. I like that a lot. I mean, that makes complete sense. I mean, you're just kind of borrowing 5 years, and if it doesn't work out, you're going to take those borrowed 5 years and retire a little bit later and get back to the rat race.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, so let's go ahead and, look at some takeaways here. So first off, determine if you are trapped by success. Take a long look at your life, what you're doing, where you are. Are you happy? Are you proud of the work that you're doing? Are you getting paid doing what you love? You need to discover what fulfills you. Do you love what you do? Would you do that for free? Like be honest, would you do what you do for free? And I feel like 9 times out of 10, people are going to be like, no, absolutely not. I would never do this for free. I barely want to do it for how much I get paid now. Right. If that's the case, maybe it's time to look at some other options so that you can have that fulfillment and that happiness that you are doing something that you love. You're giving back to the world in some way that you feel is important. And create a strategy to get paid doing that. That is it. I know it sounds very simple. There are a lot more complicated stuff, but again, we at Wilson Wealth, we can help you out with that. So go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Maurice.
Yeah, I don't mind jumping in. It reminds me of a conversation that we've had offline where one day I woke up and I was telling Blobby, I believe, if you look at your life, and this really gets down to your third point about creating a strategy to get paid doing what you love. A lot of the first half of your life, when you're relatively young, I would say even 5 to 10 years past where you are now, Sierra, you have a lot of opportunities that are given to you. And then you reach an inflection point in life where you get the opportunities that you earn. And so you have to earn this right to live the life you want, getting paid to do what you love. So it's not going to fall out of the sky. And when I was working in automotive engineering, real story, I would go to the mailbox looking for a check, because I felt so bad about it being in corporate. I wanted a way out, and I was just looking for someone to give it to me. And so I feel sometimes that people get frustrated, but they don't take the next step past frustration and put in the work to earn the opportunity to live the life you want and do what you love. So that creating a strategy is definitely, I would say, the first big step to actually getting where you want to go. Because we all know we're trapped, and we all know what we want to do, but it's that third step, like, okay, I'm actually going to do something about it, that separates the people who are trapped from the people who have gone on to do what they want.
And then also, I just wanted to add that you have to be willing to adjust that strategy. That is okay to remix it.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
If you've been doing something for 5 years and your goal has been to get out of corporate, you need to change something up if you're really trying to get out of corporate. It's just really that simple. So be willing to be flexible and fluid, because that's what entrepreneurship is.
Oh, yeah.
You're navigating your way through and you're figuring it out.
Oh, for sure. I mean, life is fickle, and nothing is ever going to go the way that you expected it to go. I feel like you also have to be prepared to fail, because it's going to happen from time to time, and not give up. If you are reaching some goals but you are not reaching the ones that you wanted, you are still reaching goals. Just shift it around a little bit, and realize that life is not just going to give you what you want.
Absolutely. And most successful people fail a whole lot.
Oh, a lot.
Things are ever in lights, so you have to just pick yourself back up. Easier said than done, but it can be done.
Right.
Absolutely. So, everyone listening, please do visit us at wilsonwealth.com to see our Trapped by Success infographic that describes Maurice's escape plan in greater detail if you are all interested. And I would just like to thank you all again for listening. Please visit us at www.wilsonwealth.com and follow us on Instagram at wilsonwealth and Facebook, www.facebook.com/wilsonwealth, for more information about us and the company. And we will see you guys next week on the Wilson Wealth Show. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Wilson Wealth Show, a thought-provoking show about building wealth in the new economy. Each week, members of the Wilson Wealth team and their guests will discuss how to navigate the world of stocks, real estate, and entrepreneurship to help you build wealth in the new economy. Please join us next time on the Wilson Wealth Show.